Most people believe they'll stop working one day because of their age. 60, 65, maybe 70 if life forces them to keep going. They think there's a magic number, a finish line, where everything suddenly changes. The pension kicks in, Social Security starts, the kids are grown, and poof, freedom arrives on schedule. But here's what most people don't realize until it's almost too late. The people who actually stop working early, the ones who seem to step into retirement with energy, options, and genuine peace, don't follow that timeline at all. They stop working the moment they understand one powerful truth. And once you understand it, it completely changes how you think about money, work, your future, and what retirement even means. Because the truth is simple but life-changing. You don't stop working when you get older. You stop working when your money starts working for you. That single shift, from trading your time for money to letting your money generate income, is what separates people who eventually feel trapped from those who quietly gain real freedom. Let me explain what this really looks like, with stories from people just like you who've lived it. And if this topic resonates, if you're in your 50s or 60s, wondering whether there's a better way than grinding until normal retirement age, do yourself a favor and subscribe. We dive deep into these real retirement truths every week. Most people spend their entire working lives earning income the exact same way. They trade time for money. You show up. You put in the hours, you get a paycheck. You stop showing up, and the money stops coming in. It's straightforward. It's what society teaches us. And for decades, it mostly works. But there's a hidden problem baked into this model that reveals itself as you get older. No matter how high your salary climbs, your income is still directly tied to your personal time and effort. And time, my friend, is the one resource that never replenishes. You can't bank more hours. You can't negotiate for extra days in the week. Even if you climb the ladder and earn more per hour, you're still locked in the same exchange. Your life energy for dollars. More responsibility often means more hours, more stress, more dependence on showing up every single day, even when your body or mind is whispering that it's time for something different. I've sat with people in their late 50s who were making great money on paper, but felt exhausted by the thought of another decade doing the same thing. One man, let's call him David, was a regional manager for a logistics company. Solid six-figure income, good benefits. But at 57, his back was acting up. His wife wanted to travel while they still could, and the job demands kept increasing. He kept thinking, just a few more years until 65. He was stuck in the active income trap. Now here's where everything starts to change for those who break free. At some point, some people have an aha moment. They stop obsessing only over how much they can earn in their next paycheck or bonus, and they start focusing on how their money can start earning for them. That's the fundamental shift. There are two basic types of income in this world. The first is active income, the paycheck you earn by trading your time, skills, and presence. It's reliable while you're working, but it has a hard stop when you don't. The second is passive or portfolio income. Money that can flow in whether you're working that day, traveling, or simply enjoying a morning coffee on the porch. This comes from investments, assets you've built, rental properties, businesses that run with systems, dividends, or other streams you've thoughtfully created over time. And once that second type of income becomes strong enough to cover your real needs, something incredible and liberating happens. Work becomes optional, not mandatory, not a survival requirement, optional. You can keep working if it brings you joy, purpose, or extra for the grandkids' college fund. But now it's a choice you make from a place of freedom, not desperation or fear of running out of money. That one mindset shift is the quiet moment when many people begin to step away from traditional work. Not always in one dramatic resignation, but gradually. They cut back hours, they negotiate part-time, they pursue passion projects, or they walk away entirely with a smile, knowing the bills are handled, because they realize they're no longer working for money. They're working because they choose to. Now here's the part most people never fully grasp until much later, often after years of unnecessary stress. You don't need to replace your entire current income to reach this point. You don't need a massive pile of millions upon millions. You don't need to match every single dollar you earn today. Why? Because your life changes dramatically when you're no longer forced to work full-time. Some expenses naturally drop. Commuting costs, work clothes, lunches out, higher taxes on earned income. Your time becomes more flexible, so you cook more at home, travel smarter, and prioritize what truly matters. Your priorities shift away from keeping up appearances toward living intentionally. What really matters is not how much you used to earn, but how much you actually need to live a fulfilling life on your terms. That's a massive difference that opens up the path for so many more people than they realize. Instead of endlessly chasing a bigger salary or the next promotion, you start focusing on lowering your overall dependence on active work. You ask smarter questions. What does my ideal day actually cost? Which expenses are truly bringing me joy versus just habit? How can I make my savings and assets work harder? When those two numbers meet, when the income from your money covers your real needs without requiring your daily time, you've reached a powerful milestone: financial independence. That's the moment you can stop working if you want to. Let me share a story that illustrates this beautifully. Meet Linda, a teacher who hit this realization in her early 50s. She wasn't a high earner by any stretch, but she lived modestly, maxed out her retirement accounts consistently, and over time built some rental properties and a solid investment portfolio with her late husband. By 54, the passive income from dividends, rentals, and investments covered most of her essential expenses. She didn't have millions, but she had enough. She didn't quit teaching cold turkey. She reduced to part-time for a couple years because she loved the kids. Then she transitioned fully into volunteering at a literacy program and spending winters in a warmer climate with her grandchildren. She told me the best part wasn't the money, it was waking up without the pressure of needing that next paycheck. Her health improved, her relationships deepened. She finally had the freedom to choose. Contrast that with many who wait until 67 or later. They reach full retirement age with a bigger nest egg on paper, but often with less energy, more health challenges, and decades of habits built around, "I have to work." The freedom feels delayed, sometimes forever. The path becomes much clearer once you make this mental switch. Now here's where things get really interesting, and where a lot of conventional retirement advice misses the mark. Even when people reach the point where they could stop working, many of them choose not to stop completely. And that surprises a lot of folks who assume the dream is total leisure. But when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Work, or meaningful activity, provides far more than just a paycheck. It gives structure to your days, a sense of purpose and progress, social connection, the feeling that you're contributing something. Without some form of that, many people in early retirement feel surprisingly lost. Days blur, motivation dips. The identity they built over 30-plus years, "I'm an accountant, I run this department," fades and nothing immediately replaces it. That's why the happiest people I've seen in this stage aren't the ones who do absolutely nothing. They're the ones who replace traditional work with something that still lights them up. Whether that's consulting a few hours a week on their own schedule, mentoring, starting a small passion business, volunteering, deep travel with purpose, or creative pursuits they never had time for before. The real goal isn't just freedom from work, it's freedom to live exactly the way you want. And those two things are profoundly different. Let's go deeper on what actually creates that freedom, because this is where so many get stuck for years. Many people spend decades hyper-focused on saving as much as possible. They cut expenses ruthlessly, max out 401ks, and build a big pile of money. That's commendable. Saving is foundational. But a big pile by itself doesn't automatically create freedom or peace of mind. What creates lasting freedom is reliable income. Cash flow that comes in consistently, month after month, with minimal ongoing effort from you. That income can come from a mix of sources: thoughtfully invested portfolios generating dividends and interest, real estate that produces net rental income after expenses, businesses or side ventures you've systematized so they run with help, royalties, or other assets you've built. When that combined income reliably covers your lifestyle, especially your essential needs plus some buffer for fun and the unexpected, you're no longer dependent on trading your precious time for a paycheck. That's the turning point. The stress level drops, decisions become easier, you sleep better. But here's the reality most retirement marketing glosses over. Getting there doesn't happen by accident. It requires a deliberate shift in how you view and handle money. You start seeing every dollar not primarily as something fun to spend right now, though enjoyment matters, but as potential employees you can send out to work on your behalf. Money that's deployed wisely can compound, generate returns, and create its own income over time. Because money, like people, can do one of two broad things. It can be consumed immediately, or it can be put to work to create more money and more options. The people who manage to step away from mandatory work earlier, often in their 50s or early 60s, are usually the ones who consistently chose the second path over many years. They built systems. They created or invested in multiple streams. They stacked small advantages that grew over time. Instead of relying on one single source, their job, they have a diversified foundation supporting their life. This reduces risk and worry dramatically. Research and real-world experience show that many traditional retirees rely heavily on systematic withdrawals from their savings. That can work, but it often creates ongoing stress, especially during market downturns or with longevity concerns. Will my money last as long as I do? Is a heavy question to carry into your 70s and 80s. The ones who build strong income streams experience something different. They worry less about sequence of returns risk. They have more confidence to enjoy the present. Their lifestyle feels supported even on days when the market dips or life throws a curveball. Picture this: a couple in their late 50s who spent 20 years methodically investing in low-cost index funds, paying off their home early, and adding a couple of modest rental properties. Their combined passive income now covers groceries, utilities, healthcare basics, and travel. They still have their main home paid off. They work part-time or on passion projects because they enjoy it, not because the mortgage demands it. Their days look like morning walks together, afternoons with grandkids, spontaneous road trips, and evenings without the Sunday night dread that used to haunt them. That's not a fantasy. It's achievable with consistent, intentional choices over time. Here's a powerful question most people never pause long enough to ask themselves seriously. What would your life actually look like if you didn't need a paycheck? Not in some vague, someday dream, but realistically with your current lifestyle, adjusted for more freedom. Would you stay in the exact same job? Would you cut back to 3 days a week? Would you pivot to something completely different? Maybe a business you've always wanted, more time with family, or giving back in your community? Answering that question honestly tells you so much about what you truly value. Most people don't explore it until decades into a path they felt they had to follow. But once you remove the financial pressure of needing earned income, your priorities snap into sharp focus. Time with loved ones becomes non-negotiable. Experiences and memories take center stage over stuff. Health and energy feel more precious. Contribution and purpose evolve into something chosen, not obligatory. Suddenly, the entire game of life feels different. You stop asking, how much more can I earn this year? And start asking, how do I want to live the years I have left? And that question, that beautiful, liberating question, is really what this whole conversation is about. Stopping traditional work isn't the ultimate goal. Freedom is. The freedom to choose how you spend your days. The freedom to say no to draining obligations. The freedom to say yes to what lights you up. The freedom to be present for the people and moments that matter most. And that freedom doesn't arrive automatically when you hit a certain birthday. It arrives when you understand how money truly works in your life, when you stop solely chasing active income and start systematically building the assets and streams that support you. It's never too late to begin this shift, even in your mid-50s or 60s. Every dollar you redirect toward building income-producing assets is a step toward more options. Small, consistent actions compound powerfully. Of course, the journey has challenges. Markets fluctuate. Life has surprises, health issues, family needs, economic changes. That's why diversification, realistic planning, conservative assumptions, and ongoing learning matter. But the people who embrace the mindset early enough gain a tremendous advantage. They recognize the moment when their money's working hard enough. They don't keep grinding out of habit or societal expectation. They make intentional choices. For many, that realization is the turning point where life truly opens up. Work transforms from something they have to do into something they get to do or choose not to. Relationships deepen, curiosity returns, health often improves because stress decreases. They become the calm, present grandparents or partners they always wanted to be. If this video has you thinking differently about work, money, retirement, or what's possible for your next chapter, I'm glad. These shifts don't come from working harder or waiting longer. They come from understanding a principle that most people completely miss until it's much harder to act on. The biggest changes in life often start with a new perspective. If today's message resonated, hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who need to hear this. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on practical steps for building income streams, mindset shifts for financial independence, and real stories from people navigating this transition. And if you're wondering where you stand right now, how close you might be to making work optional, check the link in the description for our free Retirement Freedom Quiz. It's quick, eye-opening, and designed to give you personalized clarity on your path. You've already done the hard part by showing up and learning. The next steps are about applying this understanding in ways that fit your life. Remember, you don't need anyone's permission to start building freedom. The moment your money starts working sufficiently for you, you've crossed an important line. The only remaining question is whether you'll recognize it and choose to live differently. The years ahead can be some of the best ones yet, not because you hit an arbitrary age, but because you decided to make your money serve you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, where we'll break down specific strategies for creating those income streams without needing to be a Wall Street expert. Take care and make today count.